in listen-only mode.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. It is Rob Kosberg with Bestseller Publishing. Great to be with you today. Actually really excited to be here. I'm back in my office in Pasadena, California. I actually just flew in about 2 hours ago from Boise, Idaho. I feel a little bit hoarse, but hopefully my voice will hold out for this 90-minute training. Anyway, do me a favor and type in the screen, in the question box if you can, that you can see my screen fine. It should say $1 Million Author, Grow Your Business and Authority with Your Own Best-Selling Book. And let me know that you can hear me okay and that the sound is good as well. So do me a favor, just type in the question box that you can. Also, if you would, say hi. For all of you, I always have, hundreds of people that are registered and on the webinars that I do. And I love to just get a lot of engagement and say hello. So do me a favor, type in what city you live in, where you are right now. Tell me what the weather is or something like that. But give me a little shout out. Let me say hi to you if I can. So take a minute and do that so that I can see where you're from and where you're on this webinar. And we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, I can at least say hi. As I said, I'm in Pasadena, California. It is beautiful. I'm looking out the window of my office at the mountains and beautiful sunshine, and it looks great. So, Kevin, how are you, my friend? It says sound is fine, but 90 minutes? I can't stay that long. I'm sorry, dude. It's 90 minutes. And then, at the end of the 90 minutes, I'll share more about how we can help. I just have a lot of content, unfortunately. So what I can do is, if you're interested in talking to somebody on staff or learning a little bit more about the things that we do or whatever, then I can arrange a call for you. But it is 90 minutes because there's a lot that I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover our whole Publish, Promote, Profit program, how you can do that. So Juanita, Rainey in Oklahoma, and by the way, Kevin's in Santa Barbara. Oh, I love Santa Barbara. I love it up there. Go up there pretty often with my wife. Just take the train right up from Glendale, so it's pretty cool. So hey, Juanita, Rainey in Oklahoma, and Scott in, where are you, Scott? Bellingham, Washington, loud and clear, beautiful. And in Liberty Lake, Washington, there's a couple Washingtonians there, awesome. Tina in Columbia, Missouri. Hi, Tina, how are you? Nick in Glendale. Hey, Nick, how are you? Great to have you on. We're neighbors. I live in San Marino, and my office is in Pasadena, probably no more than, 7 or 8 miles up the road from you. Peter in Paso Robles, fantastic. Anitra, yes, I can hear you, and I can see the $1 Million Author page. Anitra from New Jersey, fantastic. Tina from Sacramento. Boy, a lot of people from California on. Normally I have people on from literally all over the world. Usually there's a couple on from Australia and the UK and New Zealand and all over the place. So great. Glad we have a lot of Californians. That's where I am. So that's very cool. And is it Kiba from Georgia? I hope I said that right. So fantastic. Carolyn in Davis, California. Hey, Carolyn, another Californian. Awesome. Tina in California. Fantastic. I don't know. Maybe our online efforts have focused more on Californians lately. Obviously, I'm in California. I love California. So, Michael, thanks for the webinar. You are very welcome, my friend. Chris in Salt Lake City. By the way, Michael, where are you? Let me know. And like I said, I like a lot of engagement. So, I'm going to be asking you questions along this journey that we're taking together. As I said, it's going to be about 90-minute training. You're in the right place if you're interested in becoming a best-selling author and then using that book to position yourself as an authority, a celebrity even in your own industry, and then use that authority and celebrity to grow your business, grow your brand, and instead of hunting for clients, become the hunted. That's what we're going to talk about today, and that's what we're going to dive deep into. So let's go ahead and get started. So that you know, this is kind of what you're going to hear for like the next 90 minutes with me, okay? So, I'm going to talk kind of fast. I have like 160 slides that I'm going to go through with you guys. I have tons of case studies and examples that I want to show you. I'm going to be talking about our Publish, Promote, Profit program, how you can publish your own book, promote it to bestseller, and then profit massively from that. And then by doing it, you'll join the top 1% of your industry, and as I said, become the hunted. At the end of the 90 minutes, I'm going to show you a way that you can get bestseller publishing to help you to do all of these things. And so if you're interested in that, then stay till the end of the 90 minutes. I also have some cool things for you. So if you're fine with hearing this kind of accent maybe for the next 90 minutes or so, then do me a favor, just type in yes in the question box, let's go, I'm ready, Rob, or something to that effect, and we will get started. So as we begin, let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you're playing small in this world, that you're not making the kind of impact and income that you feel like you should be making? Now, this doesn't mean you're broke. You may be making 6 figures or even 7 figures, but you know in your heart of hearts that there's just more juice in you than that. I'm a big Nelson Mandela fan. One of my clients, Delano Lewis, worked directly with Mr. Mandela as the U.S. ambassador to South Africa. And, well, I mean, he said it the right way. He said there's no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one that you are capable of living. You know, maybe you're already an author, and your first book didn't do very well, and you know it should have done better, but there are just some missing pieces for you. I hope to cover those today. Or maybe you're really an expert in your field, but you're just not perceived that way. Others are the go-to authorities in your field, and so you're left out kind of in the cold, hunting for clients, hunting for speaking engagements, rather than those things hunting for you. I want you to take a few minutes. I want you to imagine with me, what would it be like to be a best-selling author? You know, a few years ago, the New York Times did a survey of the United States, and they found that over 80% of Americans wanted to write a book. 80%. That's like 200 million or so, probably 180 million adults that want to write a book. Here's the thing, less than 1% ever actually do. Why is that? It's because there's some major missing pieces, but first and foremost, they just don't really believe that they're either capable of, or what they have a hard time imagining what their life could be like if they actually did become a bestseller. And if that's where you're at, then I want you to imagine, even right this moment, what would it be like to be viewed as a thought leader in your industry? What would it be like to have an endless stream of clients wanting your services, and to make a powerful impact on the world far beyond your current sphere of influence? You see, for a lot of people, that's just kind of like a fantasy. But for my clients, it's like the Holy Grail. You know, for coaches, consultants, speakers, and business owners, being viewed as this expert, this thought leader, is like that mystical Holy Grail. It's always out of reach for people. And so, unfortunately, the vast majority of people stay stuck in unknown, while oftentimes those that are really no better at what they do than you are, but are best-selling authors, become these sought-after and go-to experts in the industry. And obviously this leads to, you know, feeling frustrated and afraid, and this sense that you just aren't fulfilling your potential. And so I want to get you to commit, to make a decision, to take action. Listen, whether bestseller publishing helps you or not doesn't matter. You need to make a decision to take action and take your destiny in your own hands. Get your book done finally. You know, I talk to authors, gosh, dozens every single month, and our office talks to hundreds every single month. And I can't tell you the number of people that tell us, well, I've been wanting to write a book for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and they're still stuck in the exact same place. If that's you, then I want you to first and foremost make a decision that you're going to get unstuck, that you're going to become either our next success story or your own success story, because you've decided to dig down and become the best-selling author that really you know that you should be. If you don't know who I am, let me just take 2 minutes and share, not from the standpoint of what I've done, but from the standpoint of where I've come from, so that I think, you know, you might get some benefit from it, and it would be instructional for you. In the early 2000s, I owned 3 businesses in the real estate industry, and in fact, I had been in real estate since I was 18 years old. I worked my way through college selling real estate. I'm 51 now, to give you some context. So in the early 2000s, I owned 3 really successful real estate related companies, mortgage company, title insurance, insurance company, etc., that combined were doing over $100 million a year in transactions, millions of dollars a year in personal income to me, and I owned millions of dollars of real estate all in the South Florida and kind of East Coast of the United States. Now, you guys, if you know anything about the U.S. real estate market in the mid-2000s, you know what was coming. Of course, I didn't know, and that was this incredible real estate crash and financial bubble. So there I was, a company that in 2006 had done millions of dollars in income, and 2007. And then at the beginning of 2008, I actually ended up shutting the door to my business, 6,000 square foot of office space. I still remember, the pain that it was in my early 40s with 3 kids in private school, and, the expenses that go with millions of dollars in personal income. And now I was closing the doors to my office, and I remember sitting in, my 6,000 square foot of office space, and I put an ad on Craigslist, and people were coming and taking my stuff away because I needed to clear out my desks, my computers, my phone systems, stuff that I had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and they're taking it away for pennies. And I just thought, wow, is this what it's come to? And so, as you might imagine, I put yourself in my shoes, and maybe you've been through something like that. I mean, I lost confidence. I was freaked out. I had been doing this, really as an expert since I was a young man, even a teenager, and now I was out of it. And so, fortunately, I had some great mentors around me, and I asked a couple of those mentors, because I was starting a new business in the financial services industry, I asked those mentors what they would do if they were in my position to, in this terrible economy, 2008 and 2009, to start a brand new business in an environment where I'm completely unknown. No one knows me at all in this environment, and they suggested that I write a book. I had never honestly thought of doing that before, but I took their advice, thankfully, and I wrote this book, Life After Debt. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to share a lot of those mistakes with you guys so that you can avoid them yourself. But the book did well after a lot of expense and time and effort. It became a hot new release, a top-rated book. It was #1 in business and investing. It was #1 in multiple categories. In fact, it was the #1 nonfiction book in all of Amazon. You'll see here it says number 12 paid. That's because the top 11 were actually all fiction-related books. Fiction sells more than nonfiction by a multiple. During this time, I was, at various times we've launched it, I've outsold Tony Robbins and Dave Ramsey, even David Bach, all in the financial services niche, and I'm kind of an unknown guy. But that was then, and fortunately the book really positioned me as an authority and an expert. It got me on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN. I ended up having my own radio show for a number of years, syndicated across the United States. I did 4 hours a week of live radio that led to great revenue. In fact, what it led to was amazing lead generation for this brand new business that I started in 2009. That business that I started in the very first year did over $1 million in revenue, all because of my best-selling book. As I said, I was completely unknown in this industry, but the book led to incredible celebrity and authority and positioning and radio and TV and etc. Since that time, people started coming to me in 2010 and after and asking me how I was able to go from really such a defeat and failure to such a massive success in a terrible economy. And I started telling people it was because I wrote a best-selling book. So people started asking me, is this something, Rob, that you can help me with? And honestly, in the beginning, I didn't know if I could help people. So I started helping people little by little. I ended up working with major celebrities, speaking on big stages. And then in 2011, opening and starting Bestseller Publishing. My financial services company was still doing great. It was still a seven-figure business. I ended up selling that business about 3 years ago, and since that time, all I've done is Bestseller Publishing and my own live events and speaking on other people's stages and helping hundreds of authors in every niche imaginable to publish a book, promote it to bestseller, and then use that book to grow their business and make a massive, massive profit. So wherever you're at today, I doubt that you are as low as I was during the period of my transition in 2008. So I want to give you at least a little bit of inspiration that if it was something that I was capable of doing without all the resources that we have today, then it is absolutely something that you are capable of doing as well. So as I said, we're going to be moving really fast. I talk fast. I'm going to roll through these slides really fast. What I'll do, and several of you have already typed in, hey Rob, can we get the slides if you're moving fast? Can we get the recording? So the answer is absolutely yes. At the end of this presentation, I'll give you a link. Of course, we're recording it right now, so this is live. It's happening right at this very moment. But you know, for those of you that don't want to miss anything as far as the presentation, I'll give you the recording. I'll give you the slides, and I also have a kind of a cool. I have two really cool little gifts that I'm going to give you. One is a special training that I'm going to give you on speaking engagements, if you're interested in speaking engagements. And the second thing is, and I want to ask you this, so I want some feedback from you right now. Tell me, are you interested in me going off my PowerPoint presentation towards the end of this and literally showing you how we use our books, how our clients use our books in conjunction with internet marketing and Facebook advertising, etc., to earn millions of dollars, set appointments in an automated fashion. If that's something that is interesting to you, then do me a favor, just type in the box, yes, I want to see that, or yes, that's interesting. If it's not, then tell me that too. That way I'll know that I won't do that. But if it is, then I'll take the last 10 or 15 minutes, I'll go off the PowerPoint presentation, I'll go into our ad campaigns, I'll go into how we build out our funnels, all the stuff that you guys can do as well. So I'm seeing yes, interested in seeing it, yes, interested, yes, I want to see that, I want to see examples, yes, yes, that sounds great, yes, interested, interested. Okay, beautiful. No one said no, so I guess that's what we're going to do. All right, so before we kind of dig into the content for our friends at the FTC, the results I'm about to show you are not typical for most businesses or entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, most people don't do anything with the things that I teach or even others teach. I'm going to show you some amazing results that my clients have gotten, that we've gotten for my clients. I've already shown you, geez, I showed you my tax return, for crying out loud, that showed that in the first year of my business I did $1 million, all because of my best-selling book. So of course I'm not promising that on this webinar. I just need to let you know that. I'm sure you already know that. What we do know is that we only work with clients who we know we can get massive results for. And the massive results that we actually get for our clients, we actually guarantee in writing for them. We guarantee to make them bestsellers. We guarantee to get them on TV, radio, etc. So as I said, you know, I'll share more about that if you're interested after our 90-minute training. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you some really, really cool stuff. So you'll see this slide a couple of times, and if you get nothing else, I want you to get this because hopefully it'll inspire you. And that is your best-selling book. Your best-selling book on your expertise is your gateway to your 7-figure and beyond business. If you don't believe that right now, I want you to just take a moment, visualize it, embrace it. It was the truth for me. It's the truth for so many others. Name people who you can think of at the top of your industry that absolutely would not be where they are today had they not written and continue in some cases to write best-selling books. Here's the thing though, there is a process involved in this, and I've broken down this process for all best-selling authors, not just what we do, into 3 primary components. We call it publish, promote, and profit. And so what I mean by that is this. When it comes to the publish part, what we include in that is anything having to do with actually creating your book. So that's the writing part. That's the making sure that the material is excellent. That's the actual publishing and getting distribution. The promote part is what you do after the book is published to make the book a bestseller, to put the book in the hands of your ideal clients so that people know you and want you for the profit part, which is either, you know, the whole idea of how you're going to make money from this. Here's the thing. What I find with speaking to a lot of authors today is that they're oftentimes stuck in what we call author 1.0. And an author 1.0 in the publish phase, in the actual writing phase of your book, is they're either stuck thinking that they need to craft their book by grinding it out, you know, being the daily writer, the daily content creator. And what I found is that's the reason that 80% of the people want to write a book and actually 1% ever actually do, is because they can't get it done with Author 1.0. Author 1.0, when it comes to the promote phase, is if you've ever tried to promote a book with a traditional publisher, you'll know that the traditional publisher is not interested in your content. They are interested in the size of your platform, your email list, the number of people following you on social media, etc. And if you have a big platform, then they absolutely are interested in you, even if your material stinks. So Author 1.0 is you need a platform before you can even promote your book. And then Author 1.0 is the way you profit is old school. The way traditional publishers do it is make royalties or use your book as a glorified business card. And look, those things will get you a certain, you know, a certain length, right? It's like a horse and a covered wagon, right? I mean, you can make it across the United States in a horse-drawn carriage or a covered wagon, but it's going to take you 6 months, and you know, you may die along the way, like our ancestors 150 years ago. There's a lot better way to do it, a way that's faster and a way that is much more productive. We call that Author 2.0. Author 2.0 is what we found as the best way to create content, what we call hybrid ghostwriting. I'm going to share a lot of details about that. When it comes to the promote phase, I'm going to show you how you can actually use your book to build your platform. In other words, you don't need a platform ahead of time. You can actually use your book to build a massive platform and continue building it. And then Author 2.0 in the profit phase is how you can use your book to get booked for radio, television, all kinds of media opportunities, massive speaking engagements, which I'll show you examples of my clients, and also what I did and continue to do and my clients do, and that is generating leads of people that already view you as the expert and even celebrity in the field, so that it's very easy to help those people to become clients. So we want Author 2.0, and I hope you would agree with me, because that's the easiest, fastest, and most productive way for you to be successful. So let's dive in. Over the next, you know, period of time, we're going to cover the 3 phases that I just shared. Phase 1 is what we call the publish phase. Now, if you've already written your book, then you might think, well, I don't need any information on the publish phase. But I would say pay attention to this, because some of the things that we're going to cover will still be very applicable to you, because it will help you with your messaging and it will help you with your frameworks and mindset so that you create the correct book. If you haven't written your book yet, then this is the best place for us to start. So again, the publish phase is where we deal with writing the correct book that attracts your ideal client or audience, and it's crafted in some cases 10 times as fast with a fraction of the effort. Here's the thing. So many people I talk to are just stuck in this place. They think that they need to go to a cabin in the woods or lock themselves away for months at a time to get this done, and that's just wrong. If that's what you think, then it's no wonder that you've been wanting to write a book for 5 years and haven't been able to do it. Because if you think that way, then you're going to feel stuck. You're going to think you need to write 500 or 1,000 words a day to create your content. You're going to think you need to go away or maybe do some type of traditional ghostwriting program, which many times doesn't work, and I'll share some of my mistakes there. So there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. If you do this the right way, then you can write an amazing book that you can use for years. It's done fast, it's high quality, it's something that you can be really, really proud of, and it's something that will position you as a thought leader in your industry for years to come. So here's the 7 things or 7 steps within the publish phase. Step 1 is what we call building the foundation. Step 2 is the AMQ, or author market questionnaire. Step 3, crafting the hook, title, subtitle, table of contents, hybrid ghostwriting program, and then polishing. Understand this as we begin. The sky is the limit for you. Think John Maxwell was a country preacher before he started writing his books. Now he's one of the foremost experts in the world on leadership and commands $50,000 to $100,000 for a speaking engagement. The same is true for Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar in sales, even people that wrote fiction like Stephen King or J.K. Rowling. So the sky is the limit if you get this right. So when we begin with the foundation, and by the way, if you have your I sent out little handbooks for everybody so that you can follow along. If you don't have that for any reason, then make sure you have a pen and paper, because I'm going to be covering things and I'm going to go over some stuff really, really quick with you. So when it comes to the foundation, this is the place where people get stuck. There are two primary reasons that people fail, that they end up in the 80% instead of the 1% that actually get their book written. And those places, those points of potential failure, are either the what to write about or the how do I actually get this done. So we want to cover both of those things completely for you today, so it's really clear what you need to write about and then how you can get that done for yourself. So number one, when it comes to what you should write about, and if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I want you to write down what at the top of the page, and then what number 1 on one side of the page, and then what number 1A, if you will, on the other side of the page. Or it could be number 2. And so with the what, I want you to think always we want to start with the end in mind. We want to start from the finish line and work our way backwards. So here's what we do to help our clients to really determine the what. Many times people come to us and they will say something like, Rob, I want to write a book about my life story. I want to write a book about my experiences, and I want those experiences to really make an impact on people. And that all sounds great. And we ask them, what's your end goal? How do you see this a year from now when you're a bestseller, or 2 years from now after you've been a best-selling author and you're speaking on stages or on TV, etc.? What are the goals? What are you trying to accomplish for yourself and for your business? And oftentimes those authors will share kind of very, very similar things. They'll talk about how they want to help people that, with the same issues that they have, or how they want to make a difference in people's lives because, they didn't have, the knowledge necessary to help them when they were struggling. And that all sounds great, but the real issue is I didn't ask how you want this to help your your audience. I asked, how do you want this to help you? What do you want your book first to look like? What's the end you're going for with your book? You see, if your desire is right now as a business owner, perhaps the people coming to you that are clients are not really ideal clients. Maybe you're working with people that quite frankly, you don't want to be working with. Maybe you want to work with a higher level of clientele or a different kind of clientele, or maybe you want to move from one segment of your business to another. If you write a general or a generic book, then you're not really going to be positioning yourself in the right way. So we first and foremost have to find out what is the real goal that you're trying to accomplish with your best-selling book. And what does that person look like that you're trying to attract to you as a reader? If you say, well, my book and my story it will appeal to everybody. Well, let me just tell you, if you are trying to write something that appeals to everybody in the world, then you're probably not going to appeal to anybody. It just doesn't work that way. It's a very, very rare, right, that a Harry Potter gets written. It's very, very rare. You're much better off positioning yourself in a very specific way than rather trying to be everything to everybody, which really ends up you being nobody to nobody. So we want to know, what is the end in mind? Who is the ideal audience person that you're trying to attract? And then the 1A or the 2 is, now that you know who that is, let's think about that person. Let's think really deeply about that person. When it comes to your subject matter, we want to ask in a deep way 4 kind of fundamental questions, and these are writer-downers. We want to know, what are the fears of that ideal client of yours as it relates to your expertise? What are the frustrations that they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis? Now, those are very, very different, right? Fears are deeper. Fears are bigger. Fears are often unfounded, but sometimes they can be founded. Frustrations are daily issues, daily problems, daily annoyances that they're dealing with. So we want to know fears and frustrations. We also want to know wants and aspirations. So again, once you really narrow down who this ideal reader is, this ideal client that you're trying to attract, we want to know in a deep way these 4 things, and we want you to think, our author that we're speaking to and doing this with, we want you to think, okay, how do you benefit this person? How do you really solve their problems? And we want you to be as specific as possible. See, when you dive deep in the way that I just described, and you start thinking about the languaging. You know, a husband and wife, your ideal client and their spouse sitting around the dinner table, talking about the frustrations and the fears and the aspirations that they have as applied to your particular field of expertise. When you really narrow that stuff down, then let me tell you, you have an amazing hook for people. Now you know what to say. You know the language. You know the hot buttons. You know in a very specific way how you communicate with that person so that that person immediately says, you know what, I got 3,000 marketing messages today, because that's what the average one of us get every single day. But you know what, this one resonated with me because this one is speaking to me. That's what you have to do. See, when you do that, then you can create a title and a subtitle and languaging. After you really narrow who that is, you can create languaging that really attracts that person. And if you're not thinking this deeply when it comes to what you're going to write about and how you communicate with that person, then you're probably on track for a very average book and an average result. But when you think deeply about these things and you craft a title, and by the way, when I think of a title, and this is something you should write down, try to craft a title that's only 1, 2, or 3 words. Now, if it's 5, sure, that's okay. If it's 6, oh, well, okay. But if you can find 1 word, 2 words, 3 words that captures your reader's interest, provokes curiosity, even a little bit of emotion, then you really have something. And then you can craft a subtitle that is more descriptive, more benefit-rich, and explains the overall promise of your book. That's how we help an author, a new client of ours, right from the very beginning. This is stuff we brainstorm. This is really important stuff. We don't want to just slap something out there and hope that it works. No, we want to do a deep dive, real qualitative survey of who the ideal client is that we're trying to reach. I hope that makes sense to you, because I can't impress upon you enough how important this element is and how much time we spend really looking deeply. So once you get the what, once you narrow down, okay, I know what I'm going to talk about, I know what my book is about. Of course, it's not just going to be about your story. It's going to have elements of your story, but it's going to be about the story of your ideal client. That's what you want. Once you get that, you get the title and the subtitle. Now you have to start thinking, okay, how do I write this? And you might be thinking about that long before. What we found over the years, and me speaking to tens of thousands of people and working, you know, hand to hand with hundreds of authors in every niche imaginable, we found there's 3 primary ways really to get your book written. Way number 1 is what I call gutting it out. I've already talked about the grind. You know, that is the person that is a daily content creator, and that may be you. If that's you, I commend you. It's not me. And here's what I found. It's about 3% of us. 97% of us, of the authors that I speak to, and these are really capable, smart people, only about 3% really create content every single day. And unfortunately, many of those content creators, they actually don't put the foundation in place that I just described. So they create content that's random and pointless, and unfortunately, their problem is more the what than the how. For most of us, for me, certainly, it was the how, because I figured out the what. I understood from a marketing standpoint what I needed to do. So number 1 was the gutting it out. I knew I wasn't going to do that. The number 2 way, and most people think there's kind of 2 main ways, is to have someone else write it for you, what we call traditional ghostwriting. And I can tell you on a weekly basis, we talk to authors that have spent, well, just in the last month, 2 clients have come on with our company. One spent $40,000 with a traditional ghostwriter and never got a book completed. The other spent $35,000 with a traditional ghostwriter and never got their book completed, and both of them became clients of ours. Every single week I hear from people that I've talked to people that have spent upwards of $100,000 with a traditional ghostwriter and were unhappy with the result. Why were they unhappy? Well, the same reason I was, because this was the path that I went 8 or 9 years ago when I decided to start writing my book. And here's what I found, and here's what I found to be true for me and true for most authors that I speak to. The problem with traditional ghostwriting is you capture the content necessary, but traditional ghostwriting makes it very difficult to capture the context itself. In other words, the voice of the author, your voice. So when I did this for myself and went through the traditional ghostwriting process, which is usually an interview process, a process where you give the ghostwriter your table of contents, they then interview you based on the table of contents. I did that exact process over a period of several months and spent, oodles of money on this. And what I found when I got back my 186 or so pages from the ghostwriter was that, the grammar was correct, the sentence structuring was beautiful, it was laid out nicely, the content was correct and clear, but it just wasn't me. It could have been written by anybody. And what I found is that makes for a very dull and meaningless book, and most authors that have some pride in their work are not willing to do that. So we've actually crafted something, and I'm not aware of others doing it this way. So what I'm about to share with you is kind of our proprietary stuff. So if you want to do this on your own, then let me tell you, this is the best way to do it, and it's a way that you can get your voice captured, because we've done this, as I've said, with hundreds of authors and have always been able to capture both their content as well as their context. So we call it hybrid ghostwriting. And what hybrid ghostwriting is it's a process, it's still an interview type process, but it's a process where we have our client share their content with us based on a format like a mini TED Talk. Now, if you know what TED Talks are, TEDx Talks, and you've seen really good ones, the best ones tend to all be structured in a similar way. And I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but they're structured in a great way that captures emotion and story and intrigue and great content. And that's what we want. So we always have our clients structure it the way many of these best TED Talks are, and the structure is laid out something like this. We have our clients start with story. We want story that relates to that particular chapter's content. So it could be case study, it could be story from their personal life. It could even be, if there's nothing relatable, it could be from history or sports or whatever. Think about Malcolm Gladwell and his many books, or so many other authors that aren't writing about their personal example. They're writing instead from a story-based background. So we start with story, and then the story either leaves an open hook or loop, which the brain just wants closed, and then there are the main 2 or 3 points of that particular chapter that our author needs to share, and then we close the chapter, or the culmination of the interview, if you will, with the culmination of that story or a completely different story that really accentuates the points that we're trying to make. The average great TED Talk is about 20 minutes long. We have found that 20 minutes is the right length of recording for a great chapter of content. So when you lay out your content in such a way that I just described, now you still, of course, that's just the transcription, and there's run-on sentences, and so, I mean, we have full-time writers, of course, and a whole team that will then take it, they'll rewrite it for, real introduction, real conclusion, real paragraph, short punchy sentences, correct grammar, all of that. But what's key is you capture the voice of the author. So if you've struggled with this and you want to do it on your own, what I just shared with you is gold. This is the way that you can get it done for yourself. This is my client, Delano Lewis, and I use him as an example because he's such an accomplished man. He was the former U.S. ambassador to South Africa in the 90s in the Clinton administration. He was also the CEO of National Public Radio, NPR, so massive company, very successful. And yet he came to me in his early 70s having all of this material, but having wanted for over 10 years to get his book written. He had gone the traditional ghostwriting path. It was unsuccessful. So I shared with him our hybrid ghostwriting process. He became a client of ours. And within about 4 months, we were able to craft his book with our entire team and do some amazing things for him. Here's what he had to say. Rob is a system that works. He takes a personal interest in his authors, and to me it's a one-stop shop that was a savings of time, energy, and money, but also helped finally move this project forward in a very efficient way. My thanks go out to Rob and Bestseller Publishing. This is one of the TV appearances. We actually got him 9 TV appearances throughout the country. We've gotten him speaking engagements, radio, blogs, print, you name it, all because of his best-selling book, which has now kind of put him back in the spotlight. He's been retired for many years, though he still serves on the board of Colgate and a number of others. But now he wants to get back in the speaking circuit, and this has opened that up for him. Kevin Harrington's also a client of mine. Some of you may know who he is. He's one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank. And Kevin, actually, we had a conversation just the other day, and surprisingly, he had this exact same challenge. You know, and here's what he said. He said, you know, today everybody's thinking about writing a book, but where do you go? What do you do? Who should write it? You, meaning Bestseller Publishing, help people do every process that needs done. You have an amazing business I love, and I know because I'm a client of Bestseller Publishing. Kevin told me a couple of incredible stories about how his best-selling book actually landed him on the show Shark Tank, and of course we're doing his newest one as well. So let me share with you a case study that may open up your eyes to some of the possibilities, and then stay with me because I want to get some feedback from you. I want to hear from you on what your thoughts are. So I'm going to ask a question, and I want to get some feedback from you about this process itself. So case study number one, this is my client Mike Dieterich. Came to us about maybe 3.5 years ago now. He owns a consulting company that consults with governments, municipalities, construction companies on how to reduce their carbon footprint, which is obviously a big deal. His company's called Renew and Sustain, but he had a small company and really wanted to grow it. He wanted to do that via speaking engagements. He wanted to, you know, really have a presence, and he really hadn't done any of those things before. We helped him write this book called Renew and Sustain, which obviously brands him nicely because that's the same name as his company. Launched it, became a bestseller in multiple categories. Then we started to do our PR. I have 2 full-time publicists here in my office in Pasadena, California, that all they do all day long is book our clients on radio, TV, speaking, you know, magazines, New York Times, you name it. So we started doing that for Mike. We got him booked on the #1 radio station in Washington, D.C. with over 2 million listeners. We got him booked in one of the largest blogs in a 5-page spread that get 8 million unique visitors every single month, massive blog called The Epic Times. We booked him on TV all over the country. These are some of his appearances: Fox Baltimore, California, NBC, Fox Pennsylvania. We even booked him in a spread for the New York Times towards the latter part of last year. What Mike really wanted with all of this, and this really helped explode his book and explode his presence in this industry, but Mike wanted speaking engagements. So we reached out to the green festivals. Now, if you know anything about the environmental space, which is what Renew and Sustain is all about, right? Reducing carbon emissions, carbon footprint of construction. Green festivals are the largest festivals, the largest conferences of this kind, between 20 and 30,000 attendees. They had never heard of Mike when we originally reached out to them. So we reached out again and we showed them Mike's a best-selling author. He's been featured in all of these places. His speaking schedule is filling up. Are you interested in having him? And they jumped at the chance. We actually booked Mike last year at the Washington, D.C. Green Festival, June 5th, 6th, and 7th. He spoke in front of 20,000 attendees. He had never spoken in front of more than 25 or 30 people, and now he's in front of tens of thousands. Listen, that's a whole nother problem, okay, that we don't solve. We just get people the opportunity. Here's the cool thing, though. It didn't end there. You see, they have 5 events a year, so they booked him at all of their events. They booked him in Los Angeles in front of over 20,000 as a keynote speaker. They booked him in Portland, Oregon in front of 20,000 people as a keynote featured speaker. They booked him in San Francisco, which was over 30,000 attendees. And he sent me this Facebook message not long ago that one of his life goals he accomplished. It wasn't to speak to 20 or 30,000, but it was actually to be a TED speaker, and he was able to do that on the subject of sustainability, which was something he's wanted to do. As you might imagine, his business has exploded. He's doing consulting, and he has become, instead of the hunter for clients, he has become the hunted. So, time for some feedback. I've talked a lot. I want to hear from you. I want you to share, what could the right book do for you? I talked a lot about writing the correct book, talked about what to write about, how to write about, showed you examples. Maybe you've been stuck. Take a minute, type in the question box now. I want to get some feedback and I want to share it. I want to read it. What could the right book do for you? What is your vision? Take a moment, type in the question box right now so that I can share a little bit about what could the right book do for you? So John says the right book could get me amazing speaking engagements. Sure, just like it did for Mike Dieterich. Absolutely. What could the right book do for you in your business? James says the right book could help me to land massive clients. Absolutely it could. That's exactly what it did for Mike Dieterich. Nick says, what if we don't want to be seen publicly? Well, I don't know if that's a joke or serious, Nick, but if you don't want to be seen publicly and you just want your book to kind of covertly do these things for you, then yes, you don't have to have speaking engagements. You don't have to have that. But if you're selling something, then there are ways to use your book that aren't maybe as public as the ones that I just shared. But if you're selling something, ultimately you have to put yourself in front of those ideal clients. Now, if all you want to do is sell books and you want to kind of go in the author 1.0 arena, which is all you care about is royalties, then, as you see, best-selling authors still do book signings. They do a number of other things. So being seen publicly is always, it doesn't have to be on the level I've just showed you, but it is something that's pretty important. Tina says, I could travel the world. You totally could. Janice says, provide me with a second level of income. Absolutely it could. Matthew says, widen the funnel into my business. Yeah, how about massively wide, Matthew, right? That's what it did for me. I just opened up the floodgates. Rick says, could help clients come to me instead of me chasing them. 100%, that's the whole idea, become the hunted. Carolyn says the right book could validate some of T. Maybe it was cut off there, Carolyn. I'm sorry about that. Nick says under a pen name. You could totally do it under a pen name, Nick. I probably need to know more so that I could share with you multiple other strategies, but absolutely you could do that. Dana says, I don't want speaking engagements, but I do want to attract lots of clients and credibility. Then great, no problem. Just so you know, Dana, I don't really do many speaking engagements. I don't like to travel, even though I did just get back from Boise like 2 hours ago. But, my kids are here. My wife, I've been married 27 years. I play golf every Thursday. Like, I have a life that I enjoy, so I don't travel around speaking all over, but I do those occasionally because I enjoy it. So you could choose to do it or not. Your book you can use it in any number of ways. Scott says the right book would get clients with $1 million plus in investable assets. Totally. Why not? Absolutely it could. How do you think Rick Edelman does it? How do you think Susie Orman does it? How do you think, fill in the blank? No one had ever heard of Susie Orman until Susie Orman wrote actually her second book, which was what launched her into the spotlight, and a PBS special, which then led into her own show. No one ever heard of her. She had only been in the industry for like 6 or 7 years when she wrote her best-selling book and exploded her business. Mary says the book might help young adults to reach their dreams through my example. I love that, Mary. Absolutely. Carolyn, right book could validate some of the choices I've made and get money, freedom, and opportunity. Totally. And then validate me as a professional, Tina says. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, it could do all of that. It could do all of those things and more. Your book is your gateway to your 7-figure and beyond business, and more than that. It's your gateway to celebrity if you want that. It's your gateway to massive lead generation if you want that. It's your gateway to the right kind of leads, as was shared a moment ago. You want clients that have a certain amount of investable resources and assets, then you need to write to them and to those specifics. Otherwise, you may start attracting people that don't have any money to invest with you. That is not going to help you reach the goals that you want to reach. So we talked a lot about the publish phase and the writing of the book. Now let's talk about promotion and what we need to do with promotion. Let me give you a scary statistic. The average book, and roughly 200,000 are being produced every single year. The average book sells 200 copies in its lifetime. 200 in its lifetime. And most of those copies, even sadder, are sold to the author themselves and given out to friends, family, and used as resources. So here's the thing. If you do not have a strategy, a successful strategy to promote your book, and you just publish your book and cross your fingers, then expect it to be like the average book that I just shared about, that gets very few, if any, reviews, that only 200 people in the lifetime of that book will ever buy and or possibly read. So understand, if you because of the marketing noise that's out there, you can't just push the button, and because you think the content is so great that people are going to buy it, expect it to do well. It's not going to. They're never going to get to see the content unless you do something really specific with promotion. With that said, though, traditional publishing has pulled the wool over many of our eyes because they say unless you have already built a platform, then we're not interested in you because your book won't sell. And that's true with traditional publishers. Why? Because traditional publishers don't sell books. Traditional publishers use your platform to sell books. And if you don't have a platform, then guess what? You're not going to sell books, and they're not going to have you as part of their publishing house. Just the way it works. So you see, the truth is, if you want to have something that is extraordinary, exceptional, a bestseller, then you're going to be frustrated if you just try to do this, you know, by publishing or by doing it the wrong way, figuring all of this out, throwing a little bit of money here or a little bit of money there, trying to build your platform first. It's going to create like these flatline results for you. But if you do it the right way, then you don't need a platform ahead of time. Your book will attract your platform to you. That's what we want to do. You'll get a predictable outcome, no guessing. And in fact, when it comes to bestseller publishing, we actually guarantee in writing to our clients that they're going to become international bestsellers. Their book will be an international best-selling book, or we give them their money back. So that's how predictable the outcome will be if you do it right. And I'm going to share everything you need to do in the next few minutes. You'll get your book into thousands of potential clients' hands. You'll get tons of reviews and positive feedback. And you won't just be a published author. You will be a best-selling author. So here's the 7 things I'm going to cover as quickly as I can. Cover design, what we call the soft launch, review stage, PR meaning press release strategy, paid advertising, really important, social media, and then what to do with your bestseller status. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think that when I publish my book, I need to launch it. I want this to be the image in your mind. You know, I'm not a rocket scientist. I do play one on TV, but I'm not a rocket scientist. What I've been told, and I believe to be true, if you look at this picture of the space shuttle, I know they're not launching the space shuttle any longer, but if you look at this picture, there are those 2 giant rocket boosters on the side, and as the space shuttle leaves the Earth's atmosphere, those rocket boosters fall off. And I've been told that about 90% of the fuel that the space shuttle carries is used up just to get the space shuttle out of the Earth's atmosphere. But once it's out of the Earth's atmosphere and in orbit in space, then it doesn't need much fuel to go faster and faster and faster. That is exactly how it works with your book. You have to put a significant amount of effort in right in the beginning and have a launch for your book so that you explode it out of the gravity of all the marketing messages, the gravity of all the noise of all the other books, so that your book hits bestseller status. So here are 5 things, and I'm going to cover each one of these, but write these down if you have a piece of paper. 5 steps for the launch. Step number 1 is you have to have the title, cover, and formatting done right. And I'm going to share details about each one of these. Let me just go over each one of the 5. Number 2 is you need to do a review phase or soft launch of your book, and I'm going to share what that is. Number 3, you want to use scheduled paid advertising, and in fact we advertise on, I say over 50, it's actually between 60 and 90 different websites. I was talking to my director of technology last week, and he's like, we're up to like 90 different websites that we're advertising our clients' books on. It's like beautiful, fantastic. Number 4, schedule social media. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And number 5, how do you use private author groups? I'm going to cover each one of these things. Each one of these things need to be part of the strategy for your book to be launched. So let's talk about cover design for just a moment. Your book is going to be judged by its cover and title. That's just the way it is. You can say, well, that's not fair, that's not politically correct, we shouldn't judge books by their covers, right? But who cares? Because you got 3 seconds to impress somebody, and if your cover sucks, then they're moving on. If your title doesn't catch them, doesn't speak to them, then they're moving on. So you've got to really pay attention to this. We pay a lot of attention to this with our clients. In fact, I have a full-time graphic artist in my office in Pasadena just so we can make sure we get this right. We do this over and over and over again for clients. So here are the things you need to be aware of. Number 1, you need to put yourself in your audience's shoes when it comes to your cover and your title. What do I mean by that? Well, here's the best way I can describe it. Let's say that growing up, and this happens more often than you might think, let's say growing up that your mom or your grandma used to have this cute little saying, and this cute little saying really got traction, and it's something that, you know, in all the family reunions you say, and it's like, you know, this was grandma's saying and whatever, and you want to use that as the title of your book. You think, Rob, no one does that. I'm telling you, I talk to authors every single week, and it would blow your mind how many, and not to offend those of you that actually have cute little sayings in your family, and you want to use that for the title or for the cover of your book. Understand this. If your audience doesn't immediately get it, and it doesn't immediately resonate with your audience, then I don't care how cute the saying is. It doesn't matter. It needs to be about your audience. You have to put yourself in their shoes. Will they get your message? If they don't get your message, then it's wrong, and you need to change your messaging. Not they need to change. No, you need to change. Number two, use uncommon words and themes. A great example of this is Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. If you haven't read it, you should. It's a fantastic book, but it's on a kind of common theme. The theme of the book is it's about successful people, success stories like the Beatles, etc. But if Malcolm called his book The Story of Success or Success Stories, it wouldn't be that interesting, but he used a very uncommon word, outliers, to talk about a common issue. And that word is intriguing. It provokes curiosity. If you can find a word that is uncommon and that provokes some curiosity, that is a great way to take even a common idea and make it very uncommon. Number three, don't be afraid to make a statement and provoke some emotion. You know, I like to tell my clients that magnets attract, yes, but magnets also repel. So don't be afraid of being repellent to those who aren't your kind of people, right? The people that you want to speak to, your ideal client, has a certain mindset. Don't be afraid to share something or have a cover or design that is attractive to them but unattractive to other people. Totally fine. Number four, get feedback. You know, social media is amazing. If you have a small audience, if you have a small email list, if you have, you know, past clients, get their feedback. You know, create 2 or 3 different covers. Create 2 or 3 different options of your title and ask them, what do you think? Which one do you like, A, B, or C? And then have them tell you why. Get feedback from people. And then number 5, for crying out loud, use a professional. Your book is going to be judged by its cover forever. And so no one is ever going to get past it if it, you know, looks like it was done by a 3rd grader. So make sure you use somebody, spend the money. If you're going to do this yourself, then make sure that your cover is something you actually have done by a pro. So I hope you got all that. I hope you wrote all that stuff down. If you didn't, don't worry. I'll give you this recording and I'll give you all the links to it as well. So number 2 is what we call the review phase or soft launch. The soft launch is a period of time during the launch phase for us here at Bestseller Publishing. We do all of this for our clients, remember. It's completely done for you service that we offer. The soft launch phase is where we actually go out and we have authors and others read and review our clients' books on Amazon. They do Amazon verified reviews. Now, this has been a little bit scary of late. This article came out a few months ago. There was another article that came out just about 3 or 4 weeks ago where Amazon is suing, you know, 1,000 sellers of fake product reviews. So never, ever, ever do a fake review. Never review your own book under a different name or even your own name. That doesn't make any sense. So but you need reviews. Reviews are really, really key. And I know they're hard to get, but they're really important. So how do you get them? Well, you want to use your social media. You know, go to your friends on Facebook, connect with them directly. Go to Twitter. You know, we actually have giant author groups that we own at Bestseller Publishing, where there are 50, 60,000 people in these groups. They're all authors. And authors are great readers, and they want their books reviewed. So we do like round robins where we review an author's book, and then an author reviews one of my clients' books. It's manual labor, but look, that's how important reviews are, because imagine 3 years from now you publish your book, you still have 1 review on it. Well, what in the world are people going to think when they go to your Amazon page and see that this book has been out 3 years and only one person has reviewed it. It may have the cure for cancer, but if no one thinks that it's any good, if they see there's one review, then they're not going to follow through. They're not going to be interested. When you follow this process, even if you're completely unknown, you can do massive things. This is a client of mine you've never heard of, Danny Hewitt. In the first week of following this process and us doing it, he got 69 5-star reviews on his book. Here's another client of mine, Steve Fisher. In the first 2 weeks, 93 5-star reviews. By the way, many New York Times bestsellers won't get 93 5-star reviews in a month, let alone in the first week or two. Why? Because you have to have a process that does this. Another client of mine, Dr. Nicolene Amby, 61 5-star customer reviews. I always share this because I'm proud of her, but she was not long ago asked to speak as a paid speaker at Harvard University. She's an educator, and so when we launched her book and made her a bestseller, we got her featured on TV, radio, all over the country, and then Harvard reached out. She always wanted to study at Harvard but was rejected, and then Harvard actually reached out to her to come as a paid speaker, so that was pretty cool. I'm really proud of her and what she's accomplished as a best-selling author of BSP. Next step in your launch process, press releases. Press releases. Now, press releases are amazing. They're an amazing strategy. Why? Because it's where you can get exponential reach to your ideal client. What do I mean by exponential reach? Well, imagine that your press release goes out to 1,000 media outlets. Each one of those media outlets has a reach of 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. So you're not just reaching 30,000 people. You're reaching 30,000 people 1,000 times over a short period of time with your website, with your best-selling book or your book launch. So press releases are a great strategy. Now, they can be expensive. Some press releases range from $300 to $1,000 for a single press release. So press releases can be expensive. They don't always have to be that expensive, but we actually do 3 press releases for each one of our clients' book launches. We recommend that to you as well. Here's how we do it. So we do our book launch over a 1-week period of time. So everything that I'm going through with you, it's like the space shuttle lifting off. It's a set period of time. It's a 1-week period. So our 3 press releases go out like this. Press release number 1 goes out the day before the launch, okay? Day before the launch, we issue a news press release to 1,000 media outlets. We pay for that. Our client pays us to do all this. We pay out of that money for their press releases. We then do this launch of their book. First press release goes out the day before the launch. Press release number 2 goes out on day 3, and that press release specifically states that the book has already become a bestseller. How can we state that? Because when we do all of this correctly, our clients hit the bestseller list on the first day because of the amount of traffic and eyeballs and people downloading my clients' books. And then the last press release goes out on the last day of the launch, basically saying, hey, this special promotional offer on this book is expiring today. This is the last day for this best-selling book. It creates urgency. It creates status. And our clients get a ton of traffic to their websites, to their book, tons of downloads. It's very, very exciting. It's not just something you do by itself. It's something you have to do in conjunction with everything else, okay? This is, again, I'm sharing with you a lot of different strategies, but I want you to understand this is not cafeteria style. We do all of this. Everything I'm sharing with you, we do on every single book launch, and we've done it hundreds of times and continue to do this every single week. So don't cafeteria style this. Don't piecemeal this. If you do everything as I'm explaining, then you're going to get predictable bestseller, international best-selling results. If you just say, well, I can do one, but I'm not going to do the other, then unfortunately, you're probably not going to get great results. Advertising your book's absolutely crucial. Doesn't need to be super expensive, but this is how you get your book in front of your ideal client and sell it to build your platform. Imagine for a moment, let's say you wrote a financial services book, like my very first book, and let's say like me, you don't have a big following. You have a few dozen clients or maybe 100 clients, and you have an email list with friends, family, and sphere of influence, and you have maybe a few hundred people that are friends on Facebook, etc. Not very big, right? And not all those people are going to buy your book. And so you're thinking, well, that's not much of a platform. What do I do to get my book downloaded, to get my book to bestseller status? Well, imagine this. Right now, there are people, again, using financial services as an example, but this is true in every niche, okay? Right now, there are people that have built websites, that have built blogs, that have built massive followings on every genre and category imaginable. So right now, there are financial advice blogs, there are financial advice websites, there are sites that are selling financial advice books that literally hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions of people visit every single month. Millions of people. All you have to do is pay a little bit of money and put your book, which again has a title that is intriguing, is focused on the reader and provokes curiosity. When you have all the other elements right, you put it in front of your ideal audience. What do? They snap it up. So we use 60-plus websites. These are just a few examples. Some of these you've never heard of, but literally they get hundreds of thousands of views, of buyers coming to every single month, like Digital Book Today, Corner Connection, eBook Corner Cafe, Book Lovers Heaven, Hot Zippy, etc. We use 60-plus that, the least of which gets tens of thousands of views every single week. The biggest ones get millions. All you have to do is put your book in front of the right people. When you follow all these steps, like I just described, then you're going to get your book launched. You're going to get it out of the atmosphere. You're going to get a predictable result. Your book's going to be a bestseller. You're going to be an international best-selling author. And thousands of people will have your book in their hands because of doing this the right way. This works in every industry. Let me just share with you a few odd duck examples, okay? This is a client of mine, Ted Coleman. He wrote a book called The Nehemiah Effect. Ted is an agile consultant to manufacturing firms. So tiny niche, tiny. Agile consulting. I didn't even know what that was when he came to me 3+ years ago. So his book, hot new release, top-rated book, #1 book in multiple categories. This is a book on multi-level marketing. Steve Fisher, #1 in business and industry, #1 in consulting, #1 in multi-level marketing. This is a financial advice book. I've done a couple dozen financial advice books for clients. The Aware Investor, hot new release, top-rated book, #1 book in multiple categories. This is a business fiction book written for a software company. The Project Manifesto, #1 in business leadership and management. This is a children's book that a client of mine wrote that we launched, #1 children's book. One of our clients we did a multi-book deal with, John Hewitt. He actually owns the company Liberty Tax. If any of you have ever heard of Liberty Tax, you may know Liberty Tax because during tax time they dress up like the Statue of Liberty and flip signs. It's a billion-dollar company. The founder of that company is John Hewitt. He actually founded Jackson Hewitt Tax as well. So we did John's autobiography, #1 hot new release, #1 in small business franchise. We also launched Fanatical Liberty for him, which is the book they use to sell their franchises, #1 in business leadership and management. Again, small niche, tax services. We've launched multiple cookbooks, #1 cookbooks. Our client Delano Lewis, business biographies, political biographies, #1 in multiple categories there. Spiritual books, we've done a number of spiritual books. This is for Pastor Kevin Jackson, #1 book in multiple categories. We actually also got him on nationwide radio and Good Morning Mississippi which is a secular television channel for a book about Jesus. I didn't even think we could do that, but we were able to. Even during the launch, he was outselling one of his heroes, Joel Osteen, because the launch was so successful. Law book, this client of mine, Wayne Schoenberg, uses his book to book speaking engagements at different law universities. His book, No Clients. This is a book on management consulting. Mitch Russo, good friend of mine and client, was the CEO for Tony Robbins' company, Business Breakthroughs. Hot new release, his book was, top-rated book. It was #1 in multiple categories, including business leadership. Another client of mine, Mitch Steffen, who flipped over 1,000 different houses. He's a real estate investor. I've done books for realtors and mortgage consultants and you name it. Again, hot new release, top-rated book, #1. Even earlier in this week, it was still in the top 10, and this is a book that was published over a year and a half ago. So, we've done hundreds. I just tried to give you a sampling. If I didn't hit your industry, well, don't think, well, you know, Rob, that works for all those industries, but it doesn't work for mine. No, it will work for yours as well. It doesn't matter how small the niche. Let me show you and dive a little bit deeper, because this is Ted Kallman. Ted wrote The Nehemiah Effect. This is instructional, I think helpful to you, because initially things were done poorly. They were not done right. Ted launched this book on his own, and the book right out of the gate was unsuccessful. And why is that? Well, imagine that your entire niche is 10,000 or 20,000 people across the United States. Agile consulting to manufacturing firms. I mean, it's a very small niche. So not that many people were interested in it. At least not when you don't launch it, you just publish it and cross your fingers. So when Ted came to us, he asked if we could help. So we put him through our launch process. Everything that I just described you, all those steps that I described, we put him through that process. Takes us a couple of months to do this. But Ted's book became #1 book in business consulting, #1 book in business project management, #1 book in industries. It was a hot new release and a top-rated book at almost $10 in business. It was a hot new release and a top-rated book, again, at $9.99 in business consulting. Ted sent me this Facebook message going back almost a couple of years ago now. He talks about being #1 for months at a time, but listen to this. He says, as a result of that visibility, I landed a number of contracts and speaking engagements. That's the whole idea here. Remember, you know, Author 2.0 is using your book not to make dollars here or there, but to make thousands and even tens of thousands. He did it via contracts and speaking engagements. The most recent contract was at $2,000 per day for 20 days over 2 months. That's 40 grand from one contract. They just extended another 20 days. I've run the numbers and I can make that work. That's agile consulting humor. Of course he can make it work. It's $80,000. And by the way, that was one contract, which he told me ended up getting many contracts. Just from the launch, he did over $250,000 during that period of time. It goes on. A friend who's a ghostwriter for Wiley and Morgan James read the book and liked it. That led to an intro and a 1-hour chat with the CEO of Morgan James, blah, blah, blah. They get 5,000 submissions. 6 weeks ago, they offered us a contract and advance for our next book titled Flow, which is a follow-up book to our first. Now, stay with me here for a moment. And by the way, I teased him relentlessly on that. I'm like, so I published your first book. It didn't do well, and then we made you a success, made you a bestseller, and you're leaving me? Anyway, I'm joking. I'm happy for him. But, you know, look at the timeline. He initially tried to do this, you know, the old-fashioned way, right, crossing his fingers and hoping that people would come. When we applied all the launch strategies to it, he ended up getting not just hundreds of thousands in income and speaking engagements, he got a 5-figure book advance for his next book, even though he writes to a very, very, very tiny niche. So imagine that. What would it be like for you to launch a book that does this, that creates hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, or gets you a number of incredible speaking engagements, or generates massive numbers of leads for your business? So let me open it back up. I'm going to take a drink here of my water. How would it help you? How specifically would it help you? Try to be specific. Type in the question box, how would it help you if your book was in thousands of your potential clients' hands? Thousands, because of a launch and because of an ongoing strategy that attracts your ideal client. What would it look like? What would it mean to you? So James says it would mean financial freedom. Absolutely it would mean that. What would it look like? What would it mean? How would it help you personally if your book were in thousands of your potential clients' hands? Frank says, I could get a book deal, or even sell my book as a movie. Absolutely. We had a client that did that. We had a client that, you know, this is not a typical strategy. And just because that happened, we launched a fiction book for a client, became a bestseller, got him featured on radio, television, etc. His book and his story was picked up by a Hollywood studio. They're making a movie out of it. Now, just because that happens, by the way, doesn't mean he's rich. Bottom line is, it could flop and nobody makes any money. But how many people have that as a dream? So absolutely that could happen for you. Dana says passive income for financial freedom, 100%. It could mean that. Anitra says financial freedom and more opportunities. Totally, it could mean that. What about your business? Tell me, with your business, how do you, on a weekly basis, bring new opportunities, new lead flow into your business? How does that work for you? Is it like word of mouth and haphazard? I mean, what would it be like if your book created this influx of thousands of people that already saw you as the expert, you know, the guy or gal that wrote the book on the subject matter, and now they're coming to you saying, hey, I need help with this topic in my life. I mean, of course they're going to want your help. As long as they can afford your services, you're no longer in competition with anybody else. Competition is dead. Janice says, I can improve my life, my son's lives, and stop worrying and enjoy life. Sure, absolutely you could. Now look, just because you launched the book once doesn't mean that your work is done. No, it's not done. It's never done, right? If you want to keep attracting clients, keep selling books, keep getting speaking engagements, then there are some strategies that you need to use to continue doing it. And I'm going to talk about that in phase 3, the profit phase, in just a second. Mary says it would help a lot of young adults because I intend to pay for scholarships. And also charities might appreciate it. Well, if you're going to give charities money, Mary, then they will appreciate that. No question about it. Absolutely. Janice says, I'm retired after 40 years. My expertise is in healthcare, and I'd like to share my experiences. Beautiful. Well, how would it help if thousands of people, just from the book launch itself, thousands had your 40 years of expertise in healthcare in their hands? You know, the opportunities are endless. So your book, your best-selling book, is your gateway to seven-figure business, speaking engagements, publicity, lead generation on an ongoing basis. Let's talk about the profit phase. And I'm going to run through this. You know, I'm looking at my watch. I'm already like, I got 15 minutes left of my 90, and I know I like to stick to time. So profit phase is about using your book to get speaking engagements, if you want them, to get free publicity, and I mean massive publicity, and to generate massive leads for your business. That's what it's about. Most people I speak to, though, are confused about how to profit. You know, they think, okay, money's not just going to fall from the sky, right? So how does it work? I mean, is it about royalties? And look, if you're focused on royalties, then you're going to be stepping over $100 bills to pick up nickels. That's not smart. So we want to pick up the hundreds, and we want to let the nickels just flow, okay? Royalties are great. My first book has sold 35 or 40,000 times. So yeah, I've made some money from it. But the reality is I didn't make $1 million from royalties. And I showed you my tax return that I made $1 million in my first year because I used it in these ways. So there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. If you do it the wrong way, you're going to be frustrated. You're not going to make that much money. You're going to feel like, wow, this was really a waste. If you do it the right way, then, you know, it will produce massive results for you. Speaking opportunities, PR, it'll generate leads. You'll become the alpha in your marketplace. Just consider those people that I've mentioned, like Zig Ziglar or Susie Orman, Robert Kiyosaki in real estate. No one ever heard of him until he wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about speaking engagements. We're going to talk about how to locate them, what we call cap search, attaining them, locating your ideal audience, PR, massive PR, TV, radios, blogs, podcasts, print, how to locate that. We're going to talk lead generation, book funnels, social media, webinars, VSLs, all of those things and more. A lot to share with you. Because of time, and I shared with you that I would give you a free training, so remind me at the end and I'll go off the PowerPoint, and if you're interested in a simple system. I know some of you said you're not interested in speaking engagements. Totally cool. If some of you are interested in speaking engagements and you want this free training on how to set up what we call a cap search, you know, corporations, associations, private organizations, conferences, etc., then I will share this free training with you. I'll give you the link to it if you're interested. Do me a favor, type in the box if you want speaking engagements, if this is something interesting to you, then rather than me talking about it right now, I'll just remind me at the end of the presentation, and I will share with you the details of it. So type in the box, yes, you want it, yes, interested. If not, then great, I won't share it. So Gina says, yes, speaking engagements, please. Yeah, Dina, yeah. Anitra, do I need? Okay, so yes, 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 please. Yes, okay, so remind me at the end, and I will give you the actual link to this. Let's take a few minutes and let's talk about publicity. Let me give you the vision for publicity. First of all, in the United States alone, you have hundreds and hundreds of markets. And in each one of these markets, and some are very big, like Los Angeles or New York, you know, San Diego is the top 20 market, millions of people. In each one of these markets, you have multiple TV stations and way more radio stations. And on each one of these radio stations and print newspapers and television stations, you have multiple shows on each one of them. And every show has a producer. So literally, there is an endless stream of opportunities for you on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, radio stations, etc. Here's what you have to understand. If you have a system, a simple system using your best-selling book, then you can get as much radio, television, print, PR as you ever want, but you have to do it systematically. Here's how we help our authors to do it. Now remember, we don't actually just teach our authors to do this. We do teach them, but what we actually do is we use this system every day right here in my office. Remember, I told you I have 2 full-time publicists just, 50, 100 feet from me in the other office. All they do all day long is use this system that we created in conjunction with our clients' best-selling books, and they book our clients. We have clients on TV every single week, on radio, etc. So what is the formula? It's C, which stands for credibility, plus AH and WTS, which stands for an audience hook and a well-thought-out segment, plus either your personal hustle, if you're going to do this for yourself, and or the hustle of others, meaning if you're going to have a company like Bestseller Publishing do it for you, will get you an unlimited amount of opportunities. So what is C? What is the credibility? The credibility for our clients is a best-selling book. Very simple. When you're a best-selling author, for the producers that run Good Morning San Diego on Fox, that have never heard of you, and they don't know if you're a scam artist, they don't know if everything that you're telling them is a lie. They don't know anything, right? They're afraid, they're worried. That's why it's so hard for people that are unknown to get opportunities, because those producers don't want to make a mistake. Well, when you send them a copy of your best-selling book, you automatically check that credibility box. You tell them, you know what? I wrote the book on it. I'm a credible expert. I'm an authority. So when you add that, and it's not done there, you also have to have a great audience hook and a well-thought-out segment, and you need to do this systematically over and over and over again. Then you can get as much PR as you like. And as I said, we don't update our website as much as we should, because literally we have hundreds more, but we have clients on TV, on radio. We've had clients, Lucky Magazine, in the New York Times, Entrepreneur Magazine, not just TV like ABC, NBC, CBS, but big blogs that have millions of listeners every single month, podcasts. I was just on Business Rockstars TV last week, and they are syndicated to 170 different television stations across the country. They're a big LA show that happens every Sunday in LA. I was just on that. We have several clients that are going to be appearing on that. So, and not just the blogs and the podcasts, but print, like I said, Lucky Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, the New York Times, etc. It is endless. The opportunity is endless. And of course, what that leads to is we want to generate leads, right? Ultimately, we want, it's cool to be on TV and it's cool to be on, a big radio show and all of that. But what we want is we want a system that uses that publicity, free publicity, to generate leads into our business. So how is that done? Let me give you a couple of examples, and then I'm going to go off the PowerPoint for a minute, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that we're doing. Maybe some of you know who this is. This is Brendan Bouchard. No one ever heard of Brendan Bouchard 7 or 8 years ago, until he wrote his first book, which became a New York Times bestseller. And now Brendan Bouchard runs a multiple 8-figure business, yes, tens of millions of dollars a year in personal and transformational coaching. How does he do that? Well, look, this is Free Book Friday. You're actually, if you're interested, and this, of course, wasn't from today. This is back in April. But he was giving away on Friday, Free Book Friday, his New York Times bestseller. Why would he give that away? Because he's generating leads with it. Here's Robert Kiyosaki doing the same thing, giving away a free book because he's generating leads with that. Dean Graziosi, maybe some of you have heard him, maybe you haven't, but he actually runs a 9-figure real estate investment school. He has infomercials that play all the time. Here's Free Book Friday from Dean. This is a client of mine, Shanda Sumter. She's doing her second infomercial now, and she uses her best-selling book in the same way to generate leads for her business. I just got back from Boise, Idaho with Russell Brunson. Some of you may know who Russell is. But in the very first month of Russell's book launch, which I helped him with, .com Secrets, you can see over 30,000 copies in a very short period of time, USA Today and Amazon best-selling book. We did a webinar in that first month sharing how Russell did, it was actually over $1 million in income in his very first month using his best-selling book. And I was just in Boise and we were talking about how Russell's new book is coming out. It's actually going to be coming out on his birthday, which is early next year, and we were strategizing and talking about ways that we can launch that, help that book become even a New York Times bestseller. This is a client of mine. Remember, we're talking about lead generation. Jim Hansen. Jim was actually the CEO of franchising for Subway. So he started with them over 30 years ago when Subway had 6 stores, and he took them as the CEO of franchising to over 20,000. I believe Subway is the largest franchise of any kind in the world, but if it's not number one, it's close to it. Starbucks may have surpassed it, but at that time, a few years back, they were number one. Anyway, Jim started a new franchise called Seniors Helping Seniors. So we helped him create this book. Let me go back. Called Secrets of Choosing a Franchise, and Jim used that book to bring in people that were interested in buying a franchise and then educate them on why his franchise was the best. And you can see what he says here: I only get better by being with players that are better than me. An atmosphere where people strive for excellence. That's what Rob's group does. In the last 9 days, I've produced, almost 180,000 in income. It was through this lead generation strategy from his best-selling book that did that. Now, we have tons of different lead generation strategies that we use, all to generate massive numbers of leads every single day. Every day, I have people that apply, people that call our office, people that email us directly or that private message us looking for help with their books, whether it's getting on a webinar like this or having a one-on-one telephone call. So let me give you guys a little show and tell. I told you I would go off the presentation. I got like 3 or 4 minutes before my 90 minutes is up, and I want to hold to that. So to give you an idea, what we do is we use a program called ClickFunnels, okay? ClickFunnels is a program that, in essence, helps us to very quickly and easily create a website or a funnel that people can plug into and get information, where we can, like all those others, Robert Kiyosaki, Dean Graziosi, Brendan Bouchard, like they were giving away their free books. Well, they're doing that in exchange for information from other people. An email address, maybe a full mailing address, maybe a telephone number. So they need a system to be able to do that. We use something called ClickFunnels. Now, I'm not selling ClickFunnels today, okay? I'm just sharing with you what we use. This was not created by me. It was created by my friend Russell Brunson. It's fantastic. We use it for everything. And as you can see, these are all funnels that we have personally created that we use every single day. So as an example, we have the webinar funnel. The webinar funnel is the funnel that we use to, whoops, sorry, my office line ringing, that we use to bring in people that are interested in coming to a webinar like this. So you can see in the last few weeks, we've had 1,512 people through this specific webinar funnel, 856 people registered, which is almost 60%, which is fantastically high. And that's the page that you came to, or one like it, maybe not that exact one, because as you can see, we don't just use that particular one. We use others as well, via LinkedIn, via Infinite ROI, which is another company that we own. We do joint venture strategies with all these people: Jay Boyer, Scott Olfer, Kevin Thompson. All these are literally set up with the push of a button. What does that lead to? Well, ultimately it leads to this. These are strategy session forms. Now, I just got back in town yesterday. Our normal strategy sessions are anywhere from, a low of 10 to a high of about 20 every single day. Just got back in town, so we weren't driving as much traffic, but still today you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people filled out a whole form, and I'll show you what that form looks like. But then the day before, 5, 3, 2, you can see this goes back. Thursday was, 7, This is last week. There are dozens and dozens just from last week. 2 weeks ago, dozens and dozens. So every single week we have somewhere in the range of 50 to 70 people that fill out a full application to work with us. How do we do that? Well, we do that using our best-selling books as well as these particular strategies. Let me just show you what it looks like, what the form looks like, because this isn't just somebody giving us their name and their telephone number. We actually have them apply to work with us. So imagine it's a short video that plays. It's about 1.5 minutes long. I'm not going to play that for you. You know, that's an attractive place to stop it, right? So they fill out, or maybe you've already done this. You fill out this form. Have you already authored a book? If yes, click yes, and then what is the title? I'll say no. We go to the next. Okay, tell me a little bit about your business. And so people fill this out. If they just type in one word, for the most part, we know that they're not serious, right? Because they haven't spent much time on this. Obviously, yes, busy people might only do that, but if someone is serious about having a one-on-one conversation with a member of my team, then they're going to give us more information. So let's say they give lots and lots of information on finance. Then they go to the next page. Which of the following best describes you? I need ghostwriting help, need help launching my book, I need help getting on TV, or all of the above. We'll go to next there. What best describes your budget? Budget is very tight. I want to do it myself. Modest budget if it makes sense. Guaranteed results are most important to me. In other words, I want a turnkey program. I want someone to do it all for me. And then we get their name, their email, their telephone number, Skype, website, referred by, and then that person is directed to our scheduler, and they actually schedule a set time to have a one-on-one call with someone in my office that is a project manager. That is what each one of these look like. You can see I don't have the window pane open so you can see all that information because that's private information of my clients, but that's what the pane looks like, and every single one of these represent these folks that come to us and fill out this full application. Imagine for yourself what your business would look like if every single day you woke up and your inbox looked like that. Every single day you woke up and there were 5, 7, 10 people that were saying, hey, you know, I filled out a full application, I gave you my name, my address, my telephone number, and I set a appointment with you or someone on your team so I could talk about how you can help me with my problem. Imagine what would that do for your business? How would that feel? So let's open it up. Let me ask you again, what would it feel like to have your calendar filled with qualified potential clients, or speak to hundreds or thousands of people like you've seen some of these case studies and examples? So take a second, type it in. What would that feel like for you? Really, let's envision it, because guess what? It wasn't always like that for me, but now it is because of these strategies that I use in conjunction with my best-selling book and my clients' best-selling book. So what would it feel like for you? So a lot of one-word answers here. John, amazing. Yeah, it would be, right? It's totally amazing. James, fantastic with exclamation points. I love that. Of course it would be. What else? Carolyn, empowering. Love that. Someone saying interested in speaking. That maybe was older. Kiva says a blessing. Janet says I feel overwhelmed but willing to go for it. I love that. Great. Mary says gratification for reaching my goal. Totally. I am empowerment. I'm not sure what your first name is, but it would be a great feeling. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an understatement, right? It'd be amazing. Tina says it would give me freedom to leave my businesses. I don't totally know what you mean by leaving your businesses, but, you know, yes, it would give you freedom, right? It would make, look, it makes all the difference in the world. Mary says, my name is Mary. So I'm sorry. Yeah, Mary, gratification is for reaching your goal, you said, right? Yeah. How would it feel? It would change from you hunting for clients, you know, crossing your fingers that someone's going to call today and give you a referral, crossing your fingers that, you know, you're going to go to a networking event, you know, a BNI or something, and maybe someone's going to have someone for you to call. What a terrible, like, fearful existence. And I know it because I live that existence. I don't have to live that existence anymore. This is empowering. This is freeing. This is freeing because now people are hunting for you. And as a best-selling author, you're seen as the authority. You don't ever have to worry again about hunting because you have become the hunted. So, Tina says, leave the old unhappy and go to a happy, great, empowering place. Right on. Your book is your gateway to your seven-figure and beyond business. It's your gateway to that kind of freedom and that kind of empowerment. It was for me. It is for many of my clients. So what I've shared with you, we've gone about 90 minutes. That's how you publish, promote, and generate massive leads to profit from your own best-selling book. If you're, happy with what you've received, then great. The training part of the program's over. We're done. But if you're serious about having this done for you, becoming a best-selling author, then I have some good stuff for you. So if you're interested in hearing about our done-for-you publish, promote, and profit program, then do me a favor. Just type in the question box, yes, I'm interested. If you're not, then I'll end it. No problem. No ego attached to it. Like I said, I got tons of applications, people following up, new clients starting every single day. If you're interested in that, then type in the question box, yes, or I'm interested, or I want to hear more, or whatever, because I want to know. So Chris says yes, Carolyn, yes, Phil, yes, I'm interested, Alyssa, yes, I'm interested, yes, I'm staying as long as I can, Tina says. I'm going to go through this in about 10 or 15 minutes, Tina, so just hang on. Nietzsche, yes, interested. Tina, yes, I want to know more. Yes, great, please, yeah, let's go, lots of best. Okay, beautiful. All right, so without further ado, let me spend a few minutes sharing this with you. I want to take a few minutes and share our Publish, Promote, and Profit Done For You program, okay? Now, you may have been on webinars in the past where they shared with you an information product, like a series of trainings, and you're going to buy those trainings and then do it all yourself. That is not what this is. Okay, let me be clear. This is not training. This is where my team actually does all this for you. Okay? Every step that I've described, we're going to do for you. Create your best-selling book. Make your book a bestseller, guaranteed, or it's free. And get you make the telephone calls and get you on TV, radio, publicity, etc. You don't have to do it. We do it all for you, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about for the next few minutes. So let me be clear. This is not for you if you just want a cheap little information product, okay? That's not what this is. This is for somebody that is tired of procrastinating. This is for somebody that's ready to take action and really get this done. This is not for you if, you're in the get-rich-quick crowd, right? I mean, this is a year-long process. I mean, we're creating a real book, okay? Not a little e-book, not a little 90-minute book. This is a real book, something that you can be proud of for the rest of your life and even when you're gone. This is real television that you're going to be on, not fake TV, right? Not my little TV program. I don't have one, but so this is not for you if you're looking for something get rich. It's not for you if you just want a cheap little info product. That is not what this is, okay? So who is this for? Well, this is for you if you've been wanting to write a book for a number of years and you just haven't been able to get it done for whatever reason. You haven't known what to write about. You just haven't been able to do it. This is for you if maybe you never really considered writing a book before, like me, but you just know that if you write a book, that it will be a competition killer, meaning that you'll be able to crush your competition. You'll get on TV. You'll generate leads. So you now see clearly that you want to write a book. Maybe you've already written a book. This is for you if you've already written a book and you just need some help in launching that book. Maybe you have a book that's been published for a year or two, but it hasn't done very well. This is still for you because we can take your old book and we can make that book a bestseller and get you on TV, radio, etc. So this is for you if you're in any of those categories, okay? And you want it done for you the right way. So let me share with you each of these three phases and what you're going to get, make it crystal clear. In the first phase, this is done for you hybrid ghostwriting. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to get on the phone with our team. We're going to brainstorm your book for you. You're going to go through the author market questionnaire with our project managers. We're going to help you craft your hook, your title, your subtitle, your full table of contents. We're going to help you build out the content for each of your chapters. You're then going to be assigned one of our veteran in-house ghostwriters. They're all here in Southern California where I live. We'll do recordings with you via Skype if you're overseas, or via our conference line. We're going to edit and refine your book's content. Your ghostwriter is going to do a full rewrite and create real paragraphs, short punchy sentences, real bullet points, introductions, conclusions, something you're super proud of. Our in-house graphic artist is going to create your cover. We're going to professionally format it, both for a physical book as well as a digital book. We're going to set up your distribution, your ISBN numbers, your accounts, everything. We're going to do everything. This takes about 6 months to accomplish, and it requires about an hour and a half a week of your time. That's it. The recordings will be about 30 minutes, but you'll need an hour of prep sometime during the week. So if you can dedicate an hour and a half, then we can have your book completely done inside of about 5 months, maybe even sooner. Completely done for you, turnkey. That's the publish phase. The next step is we're going to then promote your book. This is our done for you, guaranteed bestseller. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do the soft launch. We're going to get your book, your 4- and 5-star reviews. We're then going to take care of all your press releases. We're going to write them, we're going to pay for them, we're going to launch them. We're going to do your whole launch for you. So we're going to take care of all the paid advertising on the 60-plus websites that we use. We're going to do all of your social media for you during your launch phase to over 1 million people a day in all of the author groups. And we're going to guarantee in writing that you're going to become an international best-selling author, or it's free, or everything we do for you is free. So what you're buying is a result. You're not just buying, we're doing this and checking this box. No, you're buying a result, a guaranteed result. You're going to be an international bestseller, and we're going to handle it all and take care of it all for you. The next and last phase, and that takes about 2 or 3 months, by the way, the next and last phase is the profit phase, and that is done for you PR. That's TV, radio, media. You're going to work with my in-house PR team. We're going to craft your segment proposal. We're going to create a media pitch for you. Then we are going to pitch you on TV, radio, blogs, podcasts, even speaking engagements. And we guarantee the media. In writing, we're going to guarantee to get you on TV, radio, media, blogs, period. So again, you're buying a result here, not just like a typical PR firm where nothing is promised. So let me be really clear on the different facets of this. Number one, this is our full publish, promote, and profit program. The publish phase, done for you ghostwriting, I put a conservative retail value of $20,000. If any of you have ever hired a ghostwriter, you know it can easily be double that. Conservatively, I'm saying that's a $20,000 value. The promote phase, if you can find anybody to guarantee that your book will be a bestseller or they give you your money back, conservatively, that's a $10,000 value. And then 3 months of guaranteed media, PR in the profit phase is conservatively $5,000 a month over 3 months, $15,000. So conservative value on everything that I am describing here is $45,000. And if you know anything about doing a book and all that it takes, it's a year-long process, conservatively $45,000. Here's what I want you to get, though. You know you're not going to pay retail, but even if you paid $45,000 for this, if all this did for you is help you get on TV and launch your personal platform and business, it would be worth 10 times that number. My best-selling book got me on radio, helped me launch my business. I did $1 million the very first year. In the first year, it would have been worth 10 times that retail value to me. If all your book does, and if you paid the full $45,000 retail, if all it did is finally get you on track, get your book written, and make you an international best-selling author for the rest of your life, it would be worth many times the full retail. If all your book did is get you one new client a month worth $5,000 or $10,000, one new one a month, it would be worth 10 times the retail cost. Now, you already know that that's not what I'm going to offer it, but I want to be clear that that's what it's valued at, because I know I paid more than that for this when I did it. It took a lot longer because of the mistakes that I made, and I talk to people all the time that have paid more. I know that I don't have to do this, and by the way, we don't do this except on rare webinars like this. But I have some very, very, very high valuable bonuses for you, because I know this is scary, and I want to take that away and give you everything necessary for you to succeed here. So here are my bonuses. Bonus number one is what I showed you, ClickFunnels. All of those funnels that I showed you that are built out, this is a program that Russell puts an $11,552 retail value on. It's 6 months of his enterprise account and all the training that goes with it. I am going to give you all of that. I actually have to pay out of my pocket to do this, but I want you to have everything that you need, so I'm going to give that to you as a bonus on this webinar. What is that? That's everything that I showed you right here. Everything to create these funnels. And I'm talking about all different kinds of websites and funnels that you can use. Super simple. And I can go through these with you in a few minutes, but all of these are created in ClickFunnels. I'm going to give you a full enterprise edition account for it at a retail value of $11,552. That is my gift to you. Bonus number two. We are not a technology company. We're a publisher, but I know that there are technology hang-ups that maybe some of you have. So here's what I'm going to do for you as well. I'm going to have my team, my tech team, take one of your funnels and build it out to your entire specifications. So anything, let's say that you say, Rob, here's what I want. I want a funnel that's just like your webinar funnel. I want to do webinars just like you do. I want that. I want it connected to my autoresponder. I want it connected to my ads. I want everything done perfect, and I don't know how to do any of it. I want you to do it all, no problem. I want you to, Rob, here's my copy. Here's the images. I don't know how to put them in. I don't know how to do any of it. We will do all of that for you. If you know anything about building websites and building funnels like that, easily it's $10,000 to $15,000 to do that. I'm going to have my team do that for one of your funnels. You just have to tell us what you want. You just have to give us the images, the copy, and we will do everything. We will take care of the technology. We will take care of the full funnel. Now, I only do this on a very limited basis because, again, we're not a tech team. We're a publishing company. I don't want my team taking up their time to do this, so we don't do this on a day-to-day basis. I only do this on very rare webinars, but I want you to understand this is such an integral part in the whole process. I want to give it to you as a gift and as a bonus. So all these different funnels that we use, every single one, we're going to give you access to these. Here's bonus number three. ClickFunnels has this really cool ability where if there's a specific funnel of mine that you like, let's say that you want a book funnel built out so that you can give away your book and start attracting your ideal client, and they set up strategy session calls with you so they can become new clients of yours, and you want that whole thing. I can actually give you any new funnel I set up by just sharing a code. So all these funnels that I showed you, every one of these things that we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars running traffic to and testing, you can say, Rob, I want your Facebook lead magnet funnel, or I want your best-selling book funnel, or I want your giveaway funnel. I'm going to give you all of it. Say you have a supplement you want to share. It doesn't matter. Your children's book. Any kind of funnel, I'm going to give you access to all of my funnels, every one, because I can just give you a code, and then that just shows up in your ClickFunnels account. Now, you can't use it exactly as it is, of course, because it's my verbiage and my images and all that, so you just have to change out those things, but everything is completely set up for you, and I'm going to give you all that. I put a retail value of $5,000 on that. The reality is there's no price that I would pay to do this for somebody. I might do it for a friend, but I'm offering that for you because of this webinar, and I want to give you everything that you need to succeed. So everything that creates all of these strategy sessions that I get on a daily basis, I'm going to give you that ability. I'm going to give you those funnels, every single one of them. Last but not least, I hold a 2-day client event 3 times a year, and any of my past clients can come to one of these events for free. And so what I'm doing is I'm opening it up to anybody that purchases through the webinar, and I'm going to explain how you're going to do that in a few moments. I'm going to open it up for you to come to all of my 2-day client events for no cost whatsoever. I put a retail value of $5,000. Again, I do this free for my clients, but only for one event. Any others they have to pay for. At my last event, I had Kevin Harrington, the original shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank. I mean, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's done $5 billion in sales, and he connected people literally right on the spot that were looking for money, resources, venture capital, and there was even a couple of people that had a product or idea that he is now looking to partner with and help them explode their business. So my goal in these events is that I want to help you to fill in whatever gaps there are in your business. We don't talk about the book at these events. We talk about how you now use the book to grow your business. So I'm going to give you lifetime access. I do 3 a year. You can come to any of them that you want. You can get pictures with any of the celebrities that I have come to these events, and all my clients come to these. So I've done books for professional athletes. I'm doing 2 former NFL professional athletes, 1 former professional Hall of Fame golfer right now, Fortune 500 CEOs, U.S. ambassadors. They all come to these events, and many, many opportunities. Besides all of that, I mentioned briefly my guarantee, but just to say it again, we guarantee in writing that you're going to become a best-selling author, an international best-selling author, or we give you all of your money back. And we also guarantee to get you on media. We don't just talk a big game. We put our money where our mouth is when it comes to all of those things. We are going to do it for you, okay? So let me go through it again, and then I'll share the pricing with you. So you get the full Publish, Promote, and Profit program at a retail value of $45,000. That's the done-for-you ghostwriting if you need it. Now, if you have a book, by the way, then I'm going to share 2 prices. But if you need a book done for you, if the book to be launched a bestseller, guaranteed, the guaranteed media placements, all of that, you're going to get the funnel hacks and click funnels at a retail value of $11,552. My team is going to build one of your funnels out completely at a value of $10,000. You're going to get all of my 7-figure funnels at a value of $5,000. You're going to get lifetime access to my done-for-you client-only 2-day events at a $5,000 value. Total value for all of this. And I was conservative in these numbers. I didn't puff up these numbers. Total value, $76,552. If you need a book done, then here's what we're going to do. $23,000, roughly $24,000, $23,997. PublishMyBestseller.com/special is the only place you can get that. Now, you're not going to go to a link and put down $24,000. So I want to explain to you how this process works. First of all, we do a long-term payment plan for you. Why? Because it takes us a year to do all of these things. So if you need a book done, it's going to take us a year, 6 months to do your book, 3 months to launch that book and make it a bestseller, and then another 3 months to get you on TV, radio, etc. You're going to work with multiple members of my team. My office is here in Southern California. We're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday Pacific. You'll be speaking with one of 16 different people probably every week on my team. If you already have a book done and all you need is that book launched to be a bestseller and then get on TV and radio, in other words, you don't need my team to write the book for you, then that's $11,997. And we'll take your current book, as long as it's good quality, and we're going to go through it and proof it to make sure the quality is good. Then we're going to launch that book. We're going to make that book. We may give you some suggestions for the title. We may change your cover with your permission, but we're going to launch that book and make it a bestseller. We're going to make you a guaranteed international bestseller and get you on radio, TV, etc. Now, here's how that's going to work. For those of you that are interested, just because you give us money doesn't mean that you're going to be a client of ours. And I don't mean to sound harsh. I hope you can tell I'm not a harsh person. But here's the thing. If I'm going to make all these promises and offer money-back guarantees, I need to make sure that you have a topic and a category that I can really fulfill on, okay? Why? Because if I did a year's worth of work and had to give you all your money back, I mean, you know, my family wouldn't appreciate that. My 16 employees wouldn't appreciate that, right? I mean, you know, I'm not in business to do all of this for free. We're in business to help you to be successful. So the way this works is we do a $1,000 completely refundable deposit. And for that $1,000 deposit, what you're going to do, and I'll show you the exact page, which is publishmybestseller.com/special. What we're going to do is you're going to give the $1,000 refundable deposit, and you're going to have a one-on-one phone call with me. On very extreme cases, it may be my operations manager or member of our team. And we want to make sure that there really is a fit here, that we can really provide you with what you want. Because remember, this is a done-for-you service that's guaranteed. So if you tell us that you're in a field or a niche, or maybe you don't quite have the expertise that we think you need to have, then we're going to tell you, you know what, we need to refund your $1,000 because you're not quite ready for this process. I'm only doing this for 3 people. Okay, you say, Rob, you're going to do this for more. No, I'm not. Why? Really simply, because we're getting applications every day. Their applications have come in since I've been on this webinar with you, 256. It's 355 right now. So we're getting applications every single day. These people are becoming clients without offering any of the bonuses that I'm giving to you. None of these bonuses apply to people that come through our normal process. This is only for people that come through this special link and set an appointment with me or a team member. So this is only for 3. Really simple. You put down a $1,000 refundable deposit, and then we have a one-on-one conversation to make sure we're a fit. You may set up that appointment and then find out, you know what, you're just not ready for this. No problem. Then you say, Rob, you know, I'm not ready for this. Will you refund my money? I'll refund your money immediately. Not interested in $1,000. I'm interested in a new client, someone that I can help and really make a radical change of their life. We may get on the telephone, and after asking few questions for 45 minutes or an hour, I may feel like, you know what, we're probably too early in the process of your business to do this for you. And so no problem. I'll recommend that we give you your money back, and we do this maybe another time, maybe after 6 more months of you getting more experience or something. So here's what you need to do, and here's what it looks like. This is the link. It's publishmybestseller.com/special. This is a private page. It can't be found anywhere else. I'm going to put this in your question chat box, not the chat, but the question box right now. Publishmybestseller.com/special. You're going to put your name, your email address, your phone number in, your full street address. You're going to put your credit card in for your $1,000 deposit. You're then going to be forwarded to my personal calendar, and you're going to pick a time that fits with you, and then you're going to have that one-on-one call with me, with our team, and we're going to make sure that we're a good fit. If for any reason you get cold feet, you want out, no problem. We'll refund you immediately. Again, I'm not interested in your $1,000. I'm interested in a new client that we can help. So now is the time to ask some questions. We've been going a long time. What questions do you have? Otherwise, go to publishmybestseller.com/special and go ahead and log in there right now. You're also, when you apply, you're going to be given several links, like some homework that we want you to go through, different pages on our site so that you can see different examples of client successes that we've accomplished and achieved, so you can kind of get a feel for what we've done. We've been doing this for 5 years. I've taught tens of thousands of people. We'll give you some links so you can see, like our media page, you know, the various TV appearances that our clients have done. These are some. I do them on an ongoing basis, but obviously our focus is our clients, so we'll show you all of this because this is the stuff that we want to provide for you. So now is the time to ask some questions. Otherwise, publishmybestseller.com/special for your refundable, completely refundable deposit. So Scott is asking, what about Audible or other spoken formats? So good question, Scott. So at this moment, what we do is we give you resources to get Audible done. It is not a focus of our team at this point. However, and this is a big however, probably as of January of next year, we're going to have everything in place for Audible. It will mean a price increase for our program. And by the way, our program is normally $28,000. I'm offering the webinar special of $24,000 plus all the bonuses, which is an additional, $30,000 plus just of bonuses. So we don't do Audible at the moment. However, we do give you resources to get that done. Typically, you can get it done for maybe $1,000 in addition. It's not something we do because the royalties is not our focus. However, Audible is a really great way. A lot of people use Audible, and it's kind of low-hanging fruit. So we will start doing that next year. At the moment, we're not doing it, though. So hopefully that makes sense, Scott. Let me know if you have an additional question. We focus primarily on the softcover book and the digital. So we're going to create that because we want to get you on TV. We want to lock you into all these various appearances like many of our clients do, radio, blogs, podcasts, you name it. We want to do all of that for you. And the focus of getting that is not Audible. The focus of getting that is generally the print, because we actually mail out copies of your books to all of these media PR places. We mail it out to ABC and NBC and CBS and Fox and all of that so that we can get you locked in for the appearances. So again, I'm just going through some of our various stuff, but publishmybestseller.com/special. It looks like somebody got started, so congratulations on that. That's awesome. I can't tell who it is because I'd have to go off the webinar to do that, but I'm showing a link that somebody did get started. Just do me a favor and type in and let me know you did. Victoria's saying, what is the cost for how many books? So Victoria, unlike traditional publishers, and thanks for asking that question because there's so many more questions that I don't answer. I try to stick to the real meat of the program, but there's so many other things. What we do is we set all of this up in your account. We keep no rights and no royalties at all to your book. You keep 100% control, 100% rights, and 100% royalties. So when you print the book, and we're going to set all of this up for you, you will print at dead cost. And the cost generally of printing, a standard, say, 175-page book is about $3. Traditional publishers generally charge you $6 to $8 per book because where they make most of their money is by gouging you. They're glorified printers. They gouge you on the print cost. So you can print as many books as you like, 5 or 500 or 5,000, and it's at dead cost. Now we give you 20 books that you can use just kind of as a starter with this process, and we're also going to print probably another 20 books ourselves to use those books to get you booked on TV, radio, media, etc. So hopefully that makes sense, Victoria. By the way, you don't have to house any books because Amazon is going to be the primary platform that we're using, and Amazon is a print-on-demand service. So literally all you do is check your bank account for your royalties. You don't have to have a fulfillment company. Amazon does everything. When someone buys your book via Amazon, Amazon prints it on demand and ships it out to them, and all you do is collect the royalty check. So every day my books sell worldwide on Amazon, and I never have to send a book out. I never have to print it or anything. The only books I print are books that I want to send out to potential clients or for speaking engagements or that kind of thing. So Scott is asking, what is the expected royalties, even though I understand that's not the monetary focus, and how many books does it take to be a bestseller? Okay, so two good questions. So I'm going to answer the first question the way I answer it to all of my clients, because as you might imagine, I get that question a lot. And you may not like my answer, but here's what I say. I say, what I'd like you to expect in royalties is nothing. Because if you expect nothing, then you'll never be disappointed and you'll be thrilled with the results that you get. Now, that's me massively under-promising, because that's how much focus I want to take off the royalties. The truth of the matter is, my book has been out, my first book has been out 8 years. It's sold between 35 and 40,000 copies, and on average, I'll make as low as 35 cents per book to as high as, $8. So I've made tens of thousands of dollars in royalties, probably somewhere in a range of, 15 to 20,000 bucks, trying to be conservative. Every single month the royalty checks hit my account from Amazon and various places. It's nothing though. It's $100. Probably my best month ever was close to $1,000, which that was pretty cool. But mostly it's $50 to $100 to 200 bucks in a given month. So I'd prefer you expect nothing, and then you'll never be disappointed, and you'll use your book to get massive lead generation and make big commissions. But certainly over time, over 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, your book is going to pay for itself many times. But no one wants to pay $24,000 to make 200 bucks in royalties in a month, right? I mean, that's not what this is about. And then how many books does it take to be a bestseller? So another good question. So Amazon treats every author the same way, and that is every Amazon author gets to choose 2 categories based on the content of their book. And I can't give you a specific example, because a specific number of books, because obviously every category is different. But this is not, there are some bestseller programs that game the system, and all they're trying to do is get friends and family to buy 50 copies in a day, so that over a period of 3 hours you hit the bestseller list. That is not what we're doing. Most bestseller lists are based on weekly lists. So our whole launch is for the entire week, and we're driving tons of traffic from people that are already raising their hands saying they're interested in your topic. So getting back to your question, we don't know the exact answer, but we're going to choose your category based on your content, and you are going to be in competition with the tens of thousands of other books in those categories. So if you're, again, I've used financial services as an example. If you're in the financial services industry, then your book is going to be in competition with tens of thousands of other books. And what you need to do to hit bestseller, and we consider bestseller to be top 10 or above, then you're going to have to, beat all of those other books out for that entire week or periods of time during that week to hit bestseller status. So I can't tell you how many that is. It might be, several hundred downloads in a day. Generally speaking, it's usually thousands in a period, in a week period. It might be as low as 12 or 1,500, something like that. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But again, don't expect that that's where the money is. All we're trying to do is make you a bestseller legitimately, not gaming the system, but like legitimately for the week, and even longer, as you see some of my clients remain on the bestseller list. So Scott says, good answer, the book's printed on demand. Yes, I think I mentioned it to Victoria. It's all print on demand. So the only books that you ever need are books that we recommend you have for systems that you set up. So let's say that, again, I don't know what specific profession you're in, but if you're in a profession like a consulting profession, and so you're always in competition with other consultants, whether as a financial advisor or whatever, and so you'll want to have books to give out to prospective clients that are setting appointments with you. So someone sets an appointment with you, and and the appointment is for next week. You would want to have your assistant mail them a copy of your best-selling book. You sign it. You put your little something in there. Maybe because of the conversation you had with them, you say, hey, turn to page 77 because I talked about the very topic that you were interested in. And it doesn't matter if they ever open your book, because the book just speaks to your credibility. So there are certain systems that we have our clients set up that become competition killers and crush it for them. But yes, it is print on demand. You will never need to house books for sale. You only want to have books to use for your own particular systems. It's funny, you're a financial advisor. Okay, maybe you spoke earlier and I realized that. But yeah, so I've done a couple of dozen financial advice books, and I can give you a half a dozen ways that my clients use them. I have a client, in fact, Damon Lane, I gave his example earlier in the training. But one suggestion I gave Damon wanted to try some radio, some mass media, and so we set up a campaign where Damon actually used his book as a lead generation tool on radio. I recommended to Damon that he either offer his book free or free plus a small shipping fee, but I preferred free, and that means, yes, that you'd have to buy the books, and then you'd incur the expense of $3 for the book plus another $1 to ship out. But anybody who wants a free book has to call your office, give you their name, their address, their telephone number, and answer a brief questionnaire. And that's exactly how I did $1 million in my first year with my financial services company, is I used radio to offer my books for free. And what we found is for every 16 books we gave away, one person became a client of ours, and the average client value was about $6,000. Now, that was almost 10 years ago. Imagine doing annuities or whatever. An average client could be worth tens of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. So 16 times $4 plus the cost of the ad, is a very small fee to pay. So a lot of authors have to get their mind around that, because the idea of giving away their book for free hurts them somehow. But again, what we're trying to do is not get the $2 or $3 royalty. We're trying to land the big whale. We're trying to get the $10,000 client, the $15,000 client. So anyway, that's one example. I have 10 others of things that my clients have done really successfully to make it work. Nick said, would you act as a publisher also in addition? Absolutely. We are the publisher, except in the case where you say you want to have your company publish it. We also work with some traditional publishers who know they're just not very good at marketing and PR, so they come to us, like we've worked with Morgan James in the past, where we've done the marketing and the PR. So, but yes, we are a publishing company. We are a publishing house. We will publish your books. And just so I say it, I mentioned it to someone that asked a question earlier, but we keep no rights, no royalties, no control. January 1st, 2017, that's changing. We're going to start keeping a percentage of the royalties of our clients' books. And that's just a business decision. That's just, I'm a business guy, and I'm like, why am I not? I've done hundreds of best-selling books for pro athletes and financial advisors and doctors and chiropractors and U.S. ambassadors. Why am I not keeping a percentage of it? So at the moment, I'm not keeping any, but we are the publishing house, and we will publish it in our name unless you already have someone else that you want to publish. Victoria says, do you have contact producer for Oprah? So the short answer is yes, we do, Victoria, but the longer answer is that doesn't mean that you'll ever get on Oprah. I would never promise that to somebody. If you don't have any TV background, in other words, if you've not been on Good Morning San Diego, which is, is a big market, 3 million people, top 20 market in the United States. But if you haven't been on, a bunch of other TV, then generally speaking, a producer of Good Morning America or the Today Show or Oprah or something like that is going to be scared to death of putting you on TV without seeing that you have already had TV under your belt and you're good at it. So just being really honest, again, I don't overpromise at all. That doesn't mean that you couldn't be my first client who's been on Oprah. That would be super cool, and guess what? I would fly out there with you. So, but yes, we do have their contact information because we have a number of our clients that have been on very, very prominent shows and that know them and know the producers personally, and they've passed their information on to me. So that's an honest answer in both ways. That yes, we have it, but yes, that doesn't mean that that I would ever promise that for somebody. I hope that's fair. So great question though. Anyway, publishmybestseller.com/special. That's where you need to go now. Again, there is no commitment at all. It's a $1,000 deposit, but it is completely 100% refundable. I'm not trying to keep your $1,000. All I'm trying to do is make sure that you have skin on the game before I get on the telephone with you, and that this is you raising your hand saying, for the bonuses you're offering, for the fact that we're bringing the price from $28,000 to $24,000, here's $1,000 for us to get on the phone together. And if that's something that you're interested and you want to take these next steps, then that's the next step. It's for us to get on the phone and make sure we're a good fit. You're going to have more questions, certainly. I want to answer those questions for you. I want to provide you with any detail that you need to become potentially a client of ours. Otherwise, we go our separate ways happily as friends. I tell my clients I have no unhappy clients. Why? Because if they're unhappy and they continue to be unhappy and I can't figure out how to make them happy, then I refund them and we go our separate ways. I'm just not, at my age and stage in the business, I'm not interested in being in contentious relationships, and I don't need the money. So JJ says resources that you talked about earlier. Okay, so good question. I'm happy to give you those. So let me go back to, so the speaking engagements. Let me give you the training for the speaking engagements. I'll put that link in there. This is the training for the speaking engagements that you guys can get. It's also, I have it all here. So I'm putting that link, I'm putting that link in your, I'm sending it to everybody, but I'm putting it in your particular box as well, JJ. So that is the link itself. You can go there, that's the training. As far as the video, obviously this is live, so the video is still being done. I can't give you access to that yet, but as far as the link goes to that, that will be emailed to you with a PDF with all the slides and everything that we went over. So all of that will be sent directly to you because you were on this training, you were on this webinar. So you got the speaking engagement training I said I would give you, and I'm going to give you the link and all of that as well. So now is the time, my friend, to jump on. publishmybestseller.com/special. Again, $1,000 refundable deposit. This is what the page looks like. And that's for us to have a one-on-one conversation. publishmybestseller.com/special, and 3 people only. At the moment, it looks like there have been 1 or 2. If more than 3 apply, then no problem. What we'll do is we'll speak to them and we'll choose the 3 that, you know, are moving forward with it. You can say, well, that's just not, that's fake scarcity, Rob. It's not. That's just how we operate. We want to operate in integrity. I am not going to take more than 3 people from this particular webinar, this particular training period. I don't care how many apply. And we've had as many as 27 people apply and give me a $1,000 deposit. At that time, I was taking 7. In this case, it's the end of the month. We've already brought on 12 or 15 new clients, which is close to capacity for us. We do that every single month. So 3 more people is what we're looking for, 3 people that would be a great fit for us. So now is the time to take action, my friends. Someone like Jim Hansen did in the first 90 days of working with us. It meant $180,000 because of his best-selling book and the strategies we helped him outline. Again, Kevin Harrington, client of mine. In fact, I was just talking to him yesterday and his team about his upcoming book. Last thing, and I'm still here to answer your questions, but you may have a specific question that you want to talk to a live person. Maybe you want to make sure that we're a real company. Right, I don't know, right? You're saying we're on a webinar. I could be like in India or Afghanistan or somewhere, or, you know, operating from Chile on a laptop on a beach somewhere. You can call my office right now. This is the office, 626-765-9750. You can speak to any one of a dozen employees that are here. We're here Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific. It is now 4:20 Pacific. So you can call the office right now if you like and speak to, you can talk to Randy, my operations manager. You can talk to, you know, David, who's one of our project managers. He's fantastic. You can talk to Paul, one of our project managers is fantastic. If you got a specific question, you want to talk to a real live person right now, then call them right now, 626-765-9750, and you can say, hey, I have a more specific question and I want to make sure you guys are real. No problem. We don't take any offense to that. Call the office, speak to Rebecca, Michelle, Randy, Alana, Sydney, Steve, you know, David, Paul. Can't talk to me because I'm on the webinar right now. So again, 626-765-9750. Otherwise, your $1,000 deposit, publishmybestseller.com/special. This is the link right here. I'm going to put it in your question and answer box right now and send that out to you. What other questions do you have? I don't see another question. So almost everybody is still on from the hundreds that were originally registered. So that means that either A, you're waiting for me to answer something for you to take action, or B, you need to get something answered. Scott says, I'm doing some additional research. Fine, no problem, Scott. We're not going anywhere. We've been doing this for years. We'll continue to do this. Happy to get started with you at any time. Just do me a favor. Please don't ask for the bonuses unless you get started through this particular process. If you get started through speaking to David or Randy or Paul or one of our project managers, just please don't make me not say no, because I try to have integrity. And so I only offer this through the webinar. I only offer this through this channel. That way I have integrity, because I tell people on the webinar I'm only offering this through this channel. So no problem. You can take as much time and do as much research as you like. I have no issue with that, and want to make sure that we serve each other the right way and that you're really happy with us. Just unless you come through this channel, please don't ask for the bonuses. That way, I continue to be in integrity when I tell people that these bonuses are literally, and I mean that, we have never, ever, ever given anybody these bonuses outside of this occasional webinar training that we do. Okay, so and then how long will the special link be live? We will keep it live until Sunday. So you do have time. Of course, it's I just got back in town. It's Wednesday. So my suggestion might be, if you want to speak to someone here in the office, you can do that, absolutely. If you want to do a little bit of research on us in particular, fine. If you want to go to our website and just look at the various client books that we've done, we don't have all of our books on there. We have dozens more that we've not updated. So whatever you want to do there is totally fine. Happy to at any point get you started between now and Sunday with this link, publishmybestseller.com/special. Scott says, perfect, thanks. You are very welcome. Again, you can also call the office if you want to speak to somebody one-on-one. That's totally cool with me. 626-765-9750. Again, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific time. So I don't remember where you were, so that's fine. So any other questions, my friend? Let me know. Let me answer that. If not, then now is the time to get started. Again, the deposit is refundable, 100% refundable. And you can get on the phone with me early next week and get on the phone with me later this week. You can do your research between now and then, but it is a refundable deposit. We're not trying to keep it. All we're trying to do is make sure that you're for real, just like you want to make sure that we are. So that opportunity is, to get on the telephone. We know you have skin in the game. I've spent 2.5 hours on this training with you, so you know who we are and our examples. And then we get on the telephone after you do some additional due diligence, and we'll refund your money if you ask for it, or if we feel like it's not a good fit for one reason or another. And we do refund a percentage of our people. It's not significant, but we do refund, maybe as much as 20 or 30% of the people that just aren't a good fit for what we're doing. So if I don't see any other questions, then I'm gonna assume that we're done and gonna dive off here in 10 seconds. So if there's nothing else, then I will say adieu. Thanks so much for being on with me for the last 2.5 hours. I hope this was really helpful to you guys. I really love it. Gina is asking for speaking engagements. Gina, I already gave that link out. I will put it again in here for the speaking engagements. Again, I did give that link out. Let me see if I can go back. This is the link right here. I will go ahead and put it in your box again, but it is in your question box because I did put that out to you. Otherwise, publishmybestseller.com/special is the place to go ahead and get that one-on-one call with me and get started. So Gene says, thank you. You are very welcome. I don't see anything else, so thanks so much for being on with me. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope you are inspired to take action on your book, whether with us or on your own. You need to do that. there is a great opportunity right now in your industry, whatever industry that is, to be the go-to expert, and your best-selling book is your gateway to that. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and we'll speak again soon.